I'm recording this session anyway, so what we'll be able to do after the event is pick up any unanswered questions or anything we run out of time for. In the chat window on the left-hand side here, I'm just going to quickly type a message in there. If you've got any questions, if I could ask you to go ahead and pop them into the chat window, then I can pick them up towards the end of the session and address as many as I can. What I'm going to do is to share some screens with you so that I can actually show you how to use the website, etc. And I'm also just going to run a very quick couple of slides about different team roles, who does what, so that you can get an idea of how that fits into the big 4N family, really. So that's what we can have a look for as we go forward from there. So I'm just going to get that loaded up. And then I will start to share my screen. So what you're going to see at your end for a moment is quite a lot of blank space whilst that starts to come through. And we're going to start off, as I say, by having a look at 4N team roles. So those of you who have been in 4N for a little while will have an idea of the different team roles and responsibilities, but because we've got some newbies, which we're very, very glad to have on board, I'm just going to run through that to refresh, and we're going to start off with the area leader role. So the area leader works very closely with me, the regional leader, to make sure that our groups are rocking and rolling, our teams are happy, well trained, and that we're delivering our meetings to brand. And this is the 4N description of the AL role. And I'm actively looking for area leaders to look after the newly launching Newark and Grantham groups, and also potentially the Louth, Sleaford, Spalding area. So there are always some area leader opportunities coming up. An area leader role is a commission paying role. So if you're looking for a way to monetize your 4N membership, then maybe an area leader role is for you. The area leader role does not enjoy the membership benefit of double days because it's commission earning, and because of that it also requires a bit more time, and generally speaking it's around about half an hour to an hour a day, depending on how many groups you've got. Once you've got yourself sorted out, organised, and you are filtering down through your teams the jobs that you need your team members to do. And certainly when I was area leading up in Yorkshire, which is relevant simply because I had an active RL at that point, I looked after 3 groups, and I found that that was roughly 30 minutes a day just to keep on top of it, keep track of what was going on, make sure everybody had what they needed to do. So that effectively is what your area leader is there to do. And your area leader should be at every meeting that they are area leader of, within reason, because we all have work commitments and holiday and that kind of thing. But generally speaking, they should be there to help you run your group, and they're there to help me manage the region. The group leader then is the person who stands up and reads the script, and it's their responsibility to lead from the front and set the pace, making sure that that script is delivered with energy, but that it's on message and on time. And a group leader should be committed to working closely with their area leader and also their marketing coordinator and group coordinator to grow the group. The group leader's responsibility is to make sure that their team is working well, and they report to the area leader for that. And they keep track on what's going on by checking the website regularly, making sure that their team is on track and on target, chasing up any visitors that maybe we've not seen in a while, also passporters that haven't been seen in a while, but also actively promoting their group at any other networking function that they go to, inviting people along and really working with the rest of their team to get some real buzz and energy going around their group. And again, this is also a role that I have done in the past, and when you're looking after one group, that shouldn't really be taking you much more than 10 to 15 minutes a day once you've got yourself sorted. The group leader then works closely with their marketing coordinator, the second role within the team that I'm going to talk about. And the marketing coordinator's responsibility is to work with their group coordinator and their group leader to actively promote the group. Some good ways of doing that is to work on the forum, and again I'm going to show you that very briefly today. Get out there and invite your contacts list. Get involved in social media. Make sure that you are actively networking across your region so that you're able to invite other Passport members to come and visit your group. And they report to both the group leader and the area leader. And again, once you have a system in place, this shouldn't take you much more than about 15 minutes a day once you're starting to keep on top of it. I won't lie, at the beginning of taking on a marketing coordinator role, it is going to take you a little bit longer than that because you just need to sort out how you're going to address it and attack it. But once you get into that zone and into that routine, you should be absolutely fine with about 15 minutes a day. And then the last role that I'm going to talk about here is the linchpin of your group, the person who keeps all the plates spinning, and that's your group coordinator. Your group coordinator is responsible for organising and managing the venue and confirming attendance. They're the first person that people see when they come into the meeting, and they also look after the grunt work, the cash and the paperwork, all the stuff that your area leader needs to make sure that your meeting is closed on time, that everybody receives a receipt, that any excess cash is returned to 4N to help fund your membership, and all the things that you see during the meetings. Again, it's group coordinator's role to work closely with their GL and their MC to make sure that you're keeping on track and on target for your group, working together as a team to promote your group, and also making sure that you're keeping on top of any visitors, any passporters you've not seen for a while, and again, like the other two roles that are team-based, also making sure that you are actively promoting your group wherever you're networking, on social media and all that jazz. So that's a very brief run-through of the functions of each team member. And what I'm going to do now is just to switch to the 4Networking website, and we're going to start to get into the practicalities of actually using the website to help set you up as a team member, leverage your position, and some various tools that you can use to be able to do that. Now, as regional leader, I look after everybody. So my area leaders report to me, and they will let me know if there are any problems that need sorting out, any visitors that need contacting, all that kind of thing. And I look after the whole region. And at the moment, we have 4 active groups in the region with 3 launches on the way. And again, if you're interested in launching a new group, then you would need to speak to me to begin with, and we can talk about setting that up and looking to get a team together. But any active or launch group needs to have a good team presence behind it, and part of that is understanding what role you have now on the website, what access you have, the tools that you've got available to you through the website to use. So that's what we're going to start off looking at now. As regional leader, my options and my accesses are that I can see all the meetings. So some of the screens that I'm about to share with you might look slightly different to the ones that you will see when you log on, but the functionality is the same. And the first thing that you need to do when you get to the 4N website, which is 4networking.biz, is to go to the top right of the screen and click on the member login button, which I've got my mouse pointer over now. And I'm going to give that a click now. And then you go ahead and log in with your email and password if you have already logged on to the website before. Now, if you haven't, that doesn't matter. You'll see underneath here where I'm putting in my information that there is a link here that says new member. So if you have not logged on before, then you could use that. But if you have already attended a meeting, which all of you will have done, though some of your new members might not be aware of that, then you can use password reminder to reset it, because the For Networking system creates a generic password when you are logged on to attend a meeting, and you just need to reset that. So you are either putting in the information you already know, or if you're not sure, if you've not logged in before and you want to reset your password, then choose password reminder here and you're good to go. Always a top tip, if you're using a desktop rather than a mobile device, then you can choose Remember Me here, and you'll only have to input your password each time. So once you've got that little bit sorted out there, you're going to click on the login button, and what that's then going to do is to take you into the member platform of our website. So this is the part that is now unique to you as a Passport member. And so very quickly I'm just going to show you a few things on the front page. First and foremost, in the top left hand corner of the screen you should see your profile picture, more on that in a minute, and underneath that there will be an indication here of any personal messages that have been sent to your For Networking inbox. I'll show you where that is in a moment. It will also show you in the middle of the screen what kind of membership you have, Passport membership, and how many Passport days you've got remaining, which shows up here at the top. And remember that as an active team member, group leader, group coordinator or marketing coordinator, your Passport days count down at half the rate of a normal Passport member, so you effectively get double membership days. On the right hand side of that is the stuff where things start to get interesting. You have 3 buttons here, your team, your pages and to log out. What we're going to do to begin with is go to your pages, because this is where you would need to set up your profile to make sure that when people click through, having seen you as a team member, that there's something for them to see. So what I'm going to do is to come down through the Your Pages section until I see Edit Profile, and I'm going to give that a click. That then is obviously going to open up my profile, and I'm just going to scroll down a little bit here. The key things that you need to make sure you've done is to put in as much contact information on the left hand side as you can. Give people lots of ways to get in touch with you. There is nothing more frustrating than trying to confirm somebody as a meeting attendee or follow up after a meeting to find that their email address is not correct, or the phone number hasn't been put in, etc., or there's no website address. So make sure you get as much of this in as you can, particularly your social media links. Make sure that you're doing that. Most especially, put a photograph in. Nobody wants to do business with a blue and orange blob, and if you're a brand spanking new member and a brand spanking new team member, then you will probably find that that is still empty. So that's one of the first things to come and do. Make sure all your contact information's in, put your photograph in, put in a little blurb at the front end here that will allow you to pick up some keywords about your business. But also make sure that in your preferences and security section, that you make sure that you get notification when a PM hits your For Networking mailbox. And also, this is new, event SMS message notification. That's been recently rolled out, and again that's something that you should think about sharing with your active Passport attendees, because they may well not know anything about that. And again, I'm going to do a little learn session and I'm going to post that on Facebook. And again, don't hide your email address, because you're making people work hard to get in touch with you. If you are in a commission earning role, then the self-billing details section should be filled in. Again, that's your area leaders only. And you need to get as much of that sorted out as quickly as you can. And once your profile is full fat and ready to go, then you can really start to work the system. Because each time that you interact on the forum with a new member, you make a booking, you're giving people an opportunity to interact with you, and that's key. So make sure as many of the to-do list section here on the right, as many of those green ticks as you can get. And if you sit down and do it all at one go, it takes roughly 20 minutes. So that's not too bad. Once you've done that and you've got your profile rocking and rolling, the next thing to do is to understand how to work with and use your team pages. So what I'm now going to do is to swap to the Your Team button. I'm going to give that a click now. And again, I see all the teams across the region. So all I'm going to do is just to concentrate on the top few that I can see. But if you are on a team role, you are only going to see the groups for which you are on a team. Again, from a team perspective, you also won't see the Performance League table section at the top. That is something that only I see as the regional lead. But what I'm going to do to begin with is just talk about the overall screen that you're looking at, which gives you an idea of what's going on with meetings that you are part of the team. Now this section, the Your Team section, you as an active team member should be checking at least on a daily basis, because what you are looking to do is to make sure that your team is on track and on target. So what do I mean by that? Well, the 4 end targets are that you have at least 18 booked to attend your meeting, of which 2 should be visitors. So if you've got 18 or more booked on, then you'll see your bookings here, which I'm pointing at for Lincoln, in green. If you're still a couple off that, like Gainsborough is at the moment, then you'll see that in amber if it's between 17 and 12. If it's less than 12, like Lincoln's next meeting on the 13th of August, which is perfectly normal, then it's going to be red. So your mission as a team is to get that number to be at least 20, if not 22, because you are always going to have a few people that will cancel. So initially, across your team, so all 3 members need to be actively booking people to attend their meeting. And that's what your booking numbers are showing here. Your visitors should be, in an ideal world, 2 visitors at each meeting. Again, sometimes you might not have any, sometimes you might only have 1, sometimes you might be inundated with visitors and have 5 or 6, and certainly for Lincoln as a group, we see that quite often. It's real peaks and troughs. We'll have a couple of meetings where there's only 1 or 2 visitors, and then boom, all of a sudden we'll have 5 or 6, and we're all running around like headless chickens, in a good way. Okay. But as far as your targets are concerned, you're looking for 2. This 3rd column then is specific to your group coordinator and your area leader. Your group coordinator's job is to make sure that they're confirming numbers with the venue by 1 o'clock the day before your meeting. And so as those confirmations start to come through, that confirmed number is going to start to go up, and your GC and your AL will work together to make sure that they meet that 75% target by 1 o'clock the day before the meeting. So the AL particularly on the day before will keep an eye on that and obviously offer to give the GC a hand if there are people who are not replying to their emails. And believe you me, I've done that role, and the GC role is one that's so frustrating because people just don't reply. So again, as a member of their team, you can help them out by that, by just talking to people at meetings and saying that it's really important that they reply to the email. But also, I've found recently, I get much more success for people who are not replying to the email to send them a text message. So don't beat yourself around the head, send the confirmation email, follow it up, get on the phone, and if you're really struggling to chase somebody down as a GC, then send them a text message, and I tend to find they respond to that. The next column along tells you whether or not you have a foresight booked. So if you have a foresight booked for your meeting, and again as a team, but specifically as area leader, the AL role, you are looking to have at least 4 foresights booked in advance. Okay? And if you do have a foresight booked, then you will see foresight in the column here. If you don't, like Lincoln here on the 13th of August, then we have a new function in place which is called Looking For, and it allows you to run a round table session where people can talk about contacts that they're specifically looking to talk to, industries they want to get into, connections they would like to make. So don't panic too much if you look at your meeting and think, holy moly, I've only got 2 foresights booked in the next 4 slots. You can put a Looking For site in there. You do need to speak to me as your regional leader to do that, because Looking For sessions are not a replacement for foresights. So it's still really important to make sure that you've got at least 4 foresights booked in advance. And you're looking for good speakers, people who are energetic, people that are really good at what they do. So also go and have a look at other groups outside our region. Look at people who are networking within an hour of your meeting. Again, I'll show you how you can do that a little bit later on, and ask them to come and foresight at your group. Liaise with your AL so that you're not double booking people. Get your AL to book the foresight in is the best way to do it, and then you're rocking and rolling. The next column along, your time column, does what it says on the tin. Shows you how many days you've got left. Again, if you've got 10 or more days, that's going to be green. Within 5 days, it's going to be amber. And within 3 days or less, it's going to be red, just to make sure that everybody's keeping an eye on what's going on. You then see your profile picture in this bar along the right-hand side of that, which is effectively for me, if you like, to be able to see who's on a team role and where the gaps are. Okay. So that's effectively what's happening with that. So this is the front end of your team pages. This is the bit that you need to keep and come and have a monitor, make sure that you're seeing that the targets are being met, working with your GC to tactically address those targets and make sure that the day before your meeting is due to start, that booking number ideally is 18. So how then do you see the detail of an individual meeting to be able to work out who's coming and who isn't? Well, all you need to do is to click on the View button. So what I'm going to do here is to go and have a look at what's going on with the Lincoln meeting. So I'm going to click on the View button here, and it's going to open up the information for that group. Visitors to your group will always be at the top of the list in alphabetical order by first name. So you can see here that for Lincoln's meeting this week on Thursday, we have a visitor, and that visitor has already been once, which is why there is a V1. And again, there's 3 days before the meeting, so there's plenty of time for the team to go out and phone up a few people and invite another couple of visitors to come along to try and make our target of 2. But your visitors will always sit at the top. Underneath that then, you have a list of all the people who are currently booked onto your meeting, and your foresighter will have that little icon put in to their section of that list so that you can see that your foresighter is booked on. If you are then looking to book somebody on, so what I'm going to do here is book myself on, even though I can't attend the meeting, because then I can show you how to take somebody off as well. So if you want to book a passport member or a visitor onto your meeting, then you come onto the website, come into your team pages and go to the meeting that they've asked to be booked onto. You start off by clicking on Select Member, and then you type in the name of the person that you want to book on. Now, even if you think they are a brand new visitor to For Networking, type their name in anyway, because For Networking traces people by email address, and it may be that they have actually registered their email address on the website before and they've just forgotten. So come in and type the name in, and what you'll see if they're an active passporter is that that name and the name of their company will come up underneath. Then you click on Find, and if they're an active member, then you would click on Select to book them on, which I'm going to do in a moment. But if they're not, then you would click on the word Here to insert a new visitor. And again, I'm going to come back and show you that in a minute. So if that person comes up as being found, you click on Select. It puts their name and member information into this section here. It's important that you check the confirmation email tab, because that goes to both the area lead and the group leader, so they can keep track on who's booking onto their meeting. And then all you need to do is to click on Book Member. And once you've done that, then the system will update, and you'll see there that I've now been booked onto that meeting. If you want to put a visitor on, again, just to bring this back, if I click on Select Member and put in a made-up name, which I'm hoping is going to work, and I look to find it, if that person does not exist, you'll see that there is no membership section that appears. You would click on the word Here, and then the information that you must have in order to create a visitor and book them onto your meeting, and again this is a meeting that you are a member of the team of, is shown here. So title, name, first name, last name. What's really important is that you have an email address, because that's how your GC will contact them to get them to confirm, and a telephone number. That's essential. Without a telephone number, your GC's got nowhere to go if that email address doesn't get a reply. And company name as well, because that's where your placeholder is printed, so that when they come to their meeting, that's correct. So it's not just a case of blotting in a first name and a last name, and in fact the system won't let you make this information up. If you put not known in here in the email or telephone number section, it will bump you back out. So make sure you've got this information, and let's face it, that's pretty much on most people's business cards anyway. And then when you put that information in, you'd click on Create New Member, and then it will go ahead and allow you to book that visitor onto your meeting. Okay. So again, this is how you book either an existing passport member or a new visitor onto a meeting that you are a member of the team. If somebody comes to you and says, for example, to Ben as the new marketing coordinator for Lincoln, I'd like to come to Gainsborough, then what Ben would need to do is to drop me a line to say, could you please book Tracy Muir onto Gainsborough for such and such date, because you don't have the ability to book onto meetings that don't belong to you. Okay. More on that in a minute. If you then find out that somebody that you've booked on to your meeting can't attend, then you can come back into that team page section, go to your meeting, and then click on the delete button. It will always prompt you to say, are you sure you want to do that? Yes, I am, so I'm going to click on OK. The list will refresh, and what you'll then see is that I appear at the bottom of the list, greyed out, because I'm not able to attend. Now, group leaders and marketing coordinators particularly, keep your eye on that list, because at the moment, as soon as a visitor or a passporter says they can no longer attend a meeting, they drop off the face of the earth as far as the email list is concerned. So it's well worth keeping an eye on that and just making a note of the people who've not confirmed for your upcoming meeting, so that you can make sure you get them back in the loop if they've not booked on for the next meeting instead. Okay, so just keep an eye on that greyed out section at the bottom. What's all the gubbins happening at the top here? Well, this is the nuts and bolts stuff that needs to happen before your meeting actually runs. A lot of this is the responsibility of your area leader. So your area leader, for example, will make sure that they print off any placeholders that are required for any new visitors or new passporters, and the group coordinator works with the area leader to make sure that they pass that information on. The area leader also makes sure that they print off a visitor monitoring form and an action form. That's all part of the 4-minute roundup that happens at the end of each meeting. And also, from my perspective as an area leader, I always made sure that I had a spare script and a copy of the attendance sheets. Normally your group coordinator would print off the attendance and your group leader would print off the script, but I always made sure I had a spare just in case. Okay. They're what you need in order to run your meeting. After the meeting, it's then your area leader's responsibility to close the meet. So this just gives you an idea of what's happening with an individual meetings page. And if I now look at the top of this screen, you'll see that there are some tabs that sit along the top of the screen here, one of which is your team. And I'm going to give that a click to go back to that main page of looking at, as I can see, the whole region here. Because what I want to do is to show you how you can use these pages to access a list of visitors that have been to your meetings before and for some reason haven't joined. Because particularly for launching groups like Newark and Louth, this is a great place to start as marketing coordinator, to start to get in touch with people and invite them back to another meeting. So I'm going to click on the Your Visitors tab. I'm just going to wait for that to refresh. Again, remember, I see all the groups here. So what I'm going to do now is to click on the filter. Again, I see all groups. You would only see the group that you belong to. So what I'm going to do this time is to go to Newark. That's our next launching group on the 11th of August. And then I'm going to click on Find. Okay. I'm then seeing a list of all the people who have been to a meeting at in the past at Newark, but for some reason didn't join. I get to see obviously their name and the name of their company in this column here on the left hand side, and then there are a series of codes in the middle. If those codes begin with a V, then that visitor has either been to no meetings at all, so they booked but they didn't attend, that's a V on its own. They've booked, they came once but they didn't join, that's a V1. They've booked, came twice but still didn't join, that's a V2. And if you see a V3, then that's booked, came 3 times, used up all of their visits but still decided not to join. And if they have booked onto a meeting beforehand, then you'll see the date of that in the far right column. And you can see here on this screen that for Newark, because that group's been closed for a while, a lot of those last dates are quite some time ago. So this is a really, really good place to start. Is to start working that phone list. Get on the phone, it's the best thing to do. And remember that you're doing this using 4networking as a platform. So for example, you'd be able to call up and say, I'm going to pick a name off the list here. Hello Beryl, my name is Mark. I'm the marketing coordinator for 4networking. I would like to invite you to come along to our launch meeting on the 11th of August. That gives you an opportunity to get in, start a conversation. Other things that you can think about is, I'd like you to join me for breakfast. I'd like to invite you to come along and join me for some great networking. All that kind of stuff. Okay. And this is where you can find that list of visitors. And this is a great place to start. Okay. If, for example, you phone somebody up and they say, actually, I'm really not interested and I don't want to be called again, then on the left-hand side of their name is a little sticky note tab. And if you go to that and create a new note, I happen to know, for example, that they're no longer in business. So I would put the subject as no longer in business and then just do not contact again underneath. And I would create that note And if I go back to my Your Team, Your Visitors, and look for Newark, which is just loading up now, then when I then put my mouse over that particular note, you'll see that the most recent note sits up at the top, no longer in business, do not contact again. And just from a logistics point of view, if you do find that, and again this is not just a marketing coordinator's role, all 3 members of the team should actively be looking to invite visitors back to your group, just let them know, so that you don't end up with your group leader, for example, phoning somebody who said, I don't want to be contacted again. And again, GLs, feed that forward to your AL, copy us all in so that we're all aware, and it just means that we don't end up with egg on our face. So this is how you can start off looking at visitor bookings for your group. You can also find out about lapsed members in the same way if there are people that you want to invite back. And also at the top of this team page, this is something that 4 Networking are now using much more often, is the announcements section. Okay, so again, remember that the expectation is that you're checking the 4N website at least once a day. Always just keep an eye on this section up here, and if there is a new announcement, like the top 20 groups has been announced today, then you just need to click on it to go ahead and read the message. They're normally from Mike, who's the 4 Networking Director. And again, he's coming to do the foresight at Newark's launch meet, so that's a good sell to be able to encourage people to come along and hear his networking story. And he will go ahead and put posts up here occasionally, and then all you need to do is close it. Okay, so again, please do keep an eye on that. If you see a new message which will be in bold, just quickly click on it and give it a read, and then you're all good to go. In the top right hand section of the team pages here is also information about your account. I've just got my mouse over this little orange button here. This gives you access to any emails that are sent to you through the 4N website. And if I just give this a quick click, you'll see that it gives you a mail list of people that are contacting you via the 4N website as opposed to your direct email account. That's why putting the notification on is really important, because you will get an email when somebody messages you in this way, and then you can come and check it. Quite often new members or forum shares come through this way, so it's well worth keeping an eye on it. But you'll also see that there is a section, now I'm looking at the front end sort of view here, about more 4N days. What's that all about? Well, not only do you get double membership days as a team member, but if you book a brand spanking new visitor onto your meeting, or you register a brand spanking new member onto the website and then ask me to book them onto a meeting for you, if they join, whether it's on the first, second or third visit, you get 30 days membership as a thank you from 4 Networking. So how can you make that happen? Well, there are a couple of ways you can do it. I'm going to start off by showing you something here from the Your Pages button. As you can see, there's lots of stuff in here that you can come and have a look at. Not only can you come back and get a copy of a meet receipt if you've missed one, you can also come and have a look at the attendance lists to help you follow up after meetings with people that you've not been able to have a one-to-one with, your future bookings. But down here, towards the bottom, we have a more 4N promo code. I'm going to give that a click. What this allows you to do is it generates a unique link just for you. Here's mine, and you can copy it and put it anywhere. You can put it at the bottom of your email. You could tweet it. You can put it on your own Facebook feed. If you use a funky signature block in email like I do, then you can add a logo, including the HTTP code here, and you can also put those buttons on a website. And what happens with this is, if somebody follows that link to book themselves onto the 4N website and then onto a meeting, that visitor is registered to you, and as and when they join, those 30 days come back and are accredited to you. And you'll see the steps here that are outlined to be able to do that. And the first one that you'll see here is register someone new on the 4N homepage. So I'm just going to go to that page now by clicking on the 4Networking logo in the top left hand corner. And this is the section here on the right hand side. So just to reiterate, if it's a new visitor, brand spanking new visitor that you want to book onto your group, then you just go to the Your Team pages, go to the meeting they've asked you to book them onto, and book them on using that method. But if it's a brand spanking new visitor who wants to get booked on to another group, let's say that you invite them to join you at the launch for Newark, or the launch for Grantham, or the launch for Louth, then you need to go about it slightly differently. You need to come to the main page of the 4Networking website here, and you need to use this section that I'm just rolling my mouse over to go ahead and put their information in. Okay. When you've done that, what that means is that new member is registered on the system and it's linked to you. You can then drop me an email and say, I've just created Fred Bloggs as a new member on the website. Would you please book him in for the Newark launch on the 11th of September or the Louth launch on the 1st of October? And again, we've got Grantham lunch coming up in November. You get the idea. The reason that I'm stressing that is if you just get in touch with me and say, could you book so-and-so onto the meeting? Then if I have to create them as a visitor and they join, those 30 days come to me. And that's not fair. So if it's a brand new visitor that you're introducing to 4Networking into your own group, which should be your main focus, then you just go to the Your Team button in the top of the right corner of the website and log them on, book them onto your meeting as I demonstrated a few minutes ago. But if they want to come and join you at another meeting in your region, or outside of your region even, then you need to create them as a member first using this section on the 4Networking homepage, and then get in touch with me as your RL, and I will go ahead and book them on for you, but that means that they do get accredited to you. Okay. You can find out what's going on about meetings in your area by looking at the Book a Meeting section and going to either Map or Nearest Group. So if I click on the Map option here for a second, it's going to load that up. And if I scroll that down, any meetings in your area that you are currently booked onto show up as a green tick onto the map. And if I just drag that down for a bit, you'll see that for me, I'm not currently booked on to the next breakfast meeting at Bawtry, so it shows up as a blue B. Again, I know that you'll have seen from my recent email, but just to reiterate, we've got a huge gap in the region from Lincoln out towards the coast and down towards Boston. And I look after everything that you see here from Waltham-ish, Grimsby-ish, down through Louth, Mablethorpe, Skeggy, Boston, Spalding, Grantham, Stamford. So again, really looking to expand the networking opportunities in our region. So if you know of anybody or you're interested in opening groups, maybe say around the Market Raisin area or potentially the Horncastle area or indeed Spalding or Stamford, you get the idea, that kind of area, then do please get in touch and let me know. But it also gives you the ability to be able to look at other meetings around your region. So you can see here as I pull this across that there's a whole bunch going on the other side of the M1, lots of breakfast groups there and a couple up towards the north. So if you're looking for foresighters, for example, you could click on that particular meeting and go and have a look at the meet info and see who's foresighting fairly near to you. It will bring up the information for that meeting. It will show you then who is foresighting for that group, and you could then potentially get to go on to the meeting and go and have a chat with them and invite them to come along and foresight for your group. The more groups that you can go and visit, not only does it represent your business, but it gives you a fabulous opportunity to also promote your group. Last but not least, I'm going to take you back into the team pages. And what I'm going to do is just talk to you very briefly about what the flags mean. Because as you can see, they are quite in your face. The flags are 4NHQ's way of keeping tabs on groups. You get a green flag and a green block if you meet your targets. You get an amber flag, or an amber block, sorry, if you are nearly there but not quite. And if you have a red block and a red flag, then there's some work to do to get your group up and running and turned around. Now, Gainsborough have done that in spades, having really struggled with really low meeting numbers for 3 or 4 previous meetings. Not only did they smash it with at one point 29 booked on for the last meeting that we had with Steph, but they were still able to turn that round, and we had over 20 businesses in the room, 2 visitors, both of whom joined on the day. It's an incredible turnaround, and certainly the ladies on the team, Sue and Tracy, need to have a big round of applause for managing that. And now that they have a reorganisation in that team and Barry takes over as group leader, with Tracy now focusing her immense talent and energy into marketing the group, I can only see this going into huge range of great strength, and that will be green ticks across the board. Again, for Bawtry, they've struggled a little bit with numbers over the past few weeks. They've been nearly there, but as you can see from this list, they've got 18 booked on for their meeting at the end of this week. Again, if you've not been to Bawtry yet, you're a new member of the team, why not help them out and book on and get their numbers up and encourage people to come to your groups. Mel Downing, area leader for Bawtry and Retford, and I will be running a learn session after the Retford meeting on the 7th of August to look at a few more things about using the website in a bit more detail, like the forum and various things like that. So if you've not booked on to that particular session, then drop me a line and I can book you on and get you registered. And also do please ask to book on to the Retford meeting. Again, it's all about building the numbers up. As your regional leader, what I really want to do is to get us all working together regionally. I want to try and move us away from looking at individual group performance to regional performance. We're getting there. Lincolnshire as a 4 networking region was a bit neglected for a while, as I know those of you who've been around with me as I was in an area leader role were very well aware of. But things change and new brooms, etc. come in, and we're really starting now to see a change around, and all the groups starting to really buzz and thrive, and that's down to you guys on the teams. So I particularly want to say thank you very much to my existing team members for all the help you've given me to date, and also welcome on board again to my new team members and those stepping into different roles. If we work together as a team, then we have absolutely every reason to really make our region one of the top regions in the UK. Lincolnshire was in the top 10 a couple of weeks ago. We're only just outside it now at number 11. So keep doing what you're doing, work together, look for lots of marketing opportunities for your business by using 4 networking to help you do that. Get out there, get on the phone, start inviting people along to meetings, and really work that team membership to your benefit and to help grow your business. I hope that you've found that helpful, useful, and if any questions that you might have at this point, then feel free to go ahead and throw them into the chat screen. It's not compulsory. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to go ahead and render the recording. That takes a couple of hours. And then I'm going to post it up on YouTube, and I'll send everybody a link so that you can go ahead and access the session afterwards. For any new team members, if you've got any questions after the event, just drop me an email. My email address is Sheena, I'm just typing it into the chat room now, at lightning. I would do if I could type, there we go. Or pretend that's an at, because it won't let me do that. At lightningtraining.com. Okay, so it's Sheena at lightningtraining.com. Again, I'll render the recording. I'm going to pop it up on YouTube. I'll also create a link from the regional Facebook page and I'll tweet about it. So if you're not already liking the regional Facebook page or following us on Twitter, then that will give you an opportunity to do that. To those of you who listened in live, thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. We got there in the end after a slightly shaky start due to modern technology. Any questions, anytime, just give me a shout and I'll look forward to seeing you on the network soon. I'm going to stop the screen share now, which is going to take us back to the main meeting screen. And I'm then going to go ahead and end the meeting. So again, my thanks. I hope that you get some value out of it and I'll look forward to seeing you at a 4 networking meeting soon. Cheerio!